Willoughby Female Seminary, 1847 to 1856. Higher education for women. I'll continue on the other side. The Willoughby University of Lake Erie Medical College, 1834 to 1847. The village of Chagrin, founded in 1798, changed its name in 1834 to honor Dr. Westell Willoughby, pioneer medical educator. That same year, the Willoughby University of Lake Erie was chartered and the Willoughby Medical College opened its doors, signaling the beginning of medical education in northern Ohio. The medical college trained 160 doctors, educated in contemporary methods of medicine, anatomy, chemistry, and surgery. Science! Financial struggles and public outcry against grave robbing, which I will tell you more about in a few minutes, which supplied cadavers for anatomy classes, hampered the college's development. You think? The movement of faculty to Cleveland and the transfer of the state charter to Columbus hastened the demise of the medical college in 1847 and laid the foundation for the establishment of the medical school of Case Western and Ohio State. And then I guess it became the seminary. The women's college prospered until a fire destroyed its imposing three-story brick building in 1856. Opened the Lake Erie Female Seminary, now known as Lake Erie College, in 1859. Oh, so Lake Erie College is further east. And so that started here as the Willoughby Female Seminary. So here is the school, the old medical college. Had issues with grave robbing. What do you think about that, Mr. Squirrel? What do you think about the grave robbing? Guess Frankenstein was real, huh? All the windows are boarded up. This tablet commemorates 4 institutions of learning previously occupying the site, the Willoughby Medical College. The building was then remodeled and used by the Willoughby Female Seminary until its destruction by fire in 1856. Then the name was changed to the Willoughby College, which continued until 1882. Ooh, that's sun. So, high school, all bricked up. This is the recreated one after the seminary burnt down. Some of you may have heard of the name Willoughby from a 1960s Twilight Zone episode called The Last Stop Willoughby. And it had a similar gazebo and park, but a train went through it. And the story was, without telling you the ending, a very unhappy man would take the train to New York City from Connecticut, but Willoughby was, I guess, then in Connecticut, and the train ran right through the main town around here, and it was sort of in the 1800s. Oh, cool. And that probably happened in the show too. Last Stop. So this is Willoughby Church over here. I don't know what kind it is. It's very old. It's ringing up a storm. This is the history of the soldiers from Willoughby and who served their country in the War of the Rebellion, 1851. I think it says 1865. So these are all the people that died in the Civil War, their names that were from here. Fort Fisher. Don't know where that was. And this street looks very much like it did for 100 or so years in terms of the buildings on the side of the street. Yep. 1931 memorial gates. These gates were erected by faithful friends as a lasting memorial to those whose names are engraved below. As a grateful tribute of honor to the veterans of the 6 Great Wars, Revolutionary, 1812, Mexican Civil War, Spanish-American, World War, which have devastated our country, our patriotic societies loyally united in this building of this memorial. Wow. They don't even have the ones after that. 1931. It's a lot of wars. I hate war as only a soldier who has lived it can. Yet there's one thing to be said on the credit side. Victory required a mighty manifestation of the most ennobling virtues of man: faith, courage, fortitude, sacrifice. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, 1945. More Civil War Willoughby veterans. So like we were talking about before, at the medical college, there were some issues with grave robbing. And one of the stories is that in the summer of 1843, a man named Eli Tarbell, he had died 3 days before from typhoid fever. And he came to his wife in a dream and said, quote, that his body was being taken apart piece by piece at the Willoughby Medical College. Well, I'm sure she was kind of unhappy about that dream. But when she woke up, she took her daughter and they went to the cemetery. And then they discovered his grave was empty. So she alerted her neighbors and the Lake County Guard, which I guess is the police, and they stormed the medical school with pitchforks and torches, looking for poor Eli's missing parts. So the mob invaded the college grounds, they demanded answers, and Mr. Tarbell was found, and a sophisticated grave robbing and body snatching ring was uncovered, and it was ended by the man's spirit and his widow. So as you can imagine, the college could never recover from that. So enrollment dropped and the staff left, and then the medical college closed, and like we said before, it became the female seminary. But this was the cemetery where poor Eli Tarbell and other people, other locals who had been buried here, had their graves broken into and robbed, and then were used for dissection. So like I said, 1843, I don't know when Frankenstein was written. I think it was earlier than that, or maybe around that. But obviously this was an issue. This was not made up. So The cemetery has quite a few stories. So in this cemetery, there has been seen a girl in blue wandering about the gravestones, and everybody's pretty sure that it's a young woman that was hit and killed by a train in 1933 on Christmas Eve. She had come and was staying at a local boarding house, and nobody really knew much about her. And when they found her body, she only just had a ticket to Pennsylvania, and they didn't know anything about her. So they felt so bad that they buried her in the cemetery. They paid for a cemetery plot, and they just called it the Girl in Blue. And then finally, after some people were sleuthing in the 2002, they discovered that she was a young woman named Sophie Klimczak, real name Josephine Klimczak. And the news story, and they researched the ticket that she had to Corey, Pennsylvania, and they were able to discover who she was. The Girl in Blue is still seen some nights wandering through the cemetery, but at least now everyone knows who she is, and they leave her little gifts and trinkets and sometimes dolls just to let everybody know they never forgot her.